It's Father's Day, and as always, we're running late to something. Nicole looks absolutely phenomenal. Cute little shoes, beautiful dress. We're matching, it's great. I'd love to film like some sappy stuff about Father's Day and stuff, but we're like actually like supposed to have left like 15 minutes ago. So I'll pick up when I have time, okay? Bye. We're back home now and we're gonna spend a little bit of time on the Skyline. Before we get started with anything, I'm gonna do the most satisfying thing in the world and just peel all the paint off and reveal the bay. The weird thing about this is usually when I'm crawling into a bay and I'm about to start doing stuff, I gotta wear gloves, but I can literally lick the bay, it's so clean. I'm gonna still leave some stuff taped up just so while it's getting fumbled around in the bay, it's not gonna scratch the paint up or anything. But for the most part, I got most of the tape removed. If you notice, that subframe's looking extra ugly. So at some point down the road, once I get an angle kit situated for this car, I'll probably end up moving the rack forward, having to modify the subframe, and then I'll have it powder coated. Same goes for these braces down here. I'll probably just paint them black down the road. It's easier once I have all the suspension and everything apart. Fortunately though, we can't get away with working in the clean new engine bay all day. I want to start tackling one of the first supporting mods for the power that this car is going to make, and it's a very cool one. I'm a little bit bummed right now because I had a really cool video idea today, and when I looked underneath the car, I just realized that I'm not going to be able to do it. If you look underneath the car, I'm missing two lines right here. If you're familiar with R32s or have been listening to me talk, those lines are for the HICUS. Those are for the rear steer on this car. And what I was going to do, as suggested by my friend Brad, you can actually take those HICUS lines. It's a little tricky, but you can get fittings onto them and then you can use them as fuel lines. So instead of these little squiggly straw fuel lines that really kinda don't let you push too much power, especially when you're on E85 and you're running a lot more fuel, most people will run like a -6 steel braided line all the way across the car, but that's super expensive. And you can actually use the HICUS lines that flow way more by putting some fittings on the end and then like running it to the fuel pump with steel braided -6 line, but I don't have them, so I can't do that. So unless I somehow find HICUS lines laying around Orlando somewhere, it looks like we're gonna be doing steel braided lines, because this car, although I don't want to make much more power than my SR car does, it's going to. Probably keep the boost turned down, but I have a feeling this thing is gonna make some good numbers. These were the nifty little fittings that we were gonna use. They would literally just like screw right onto the HICUS lines. We'd have to do a little bit of dremeling, and then we'd just have a -6 AN fitting that would just work perfectly. Not a lot is going my way today. So I got a battery relocation kit so we can mount the battery to the trunk. Actually, ironically, the same one that's in Nicole's car. And I think I just got a size too big because I'm not happy with how much space it's taken up. It would work well here. However, I don't like it being so close to the fuel pump area because it's just kind of a pain access, and I don't know, I just feel like this thing's kind of big. I'd love to have one a little bit smaller and have it mounted over here. There's really no reason to have a battery box this large. I'm not gonna have a battery this big. The main purpose for an enclosed one is a lot of like techs will have you need to have an enclosed battery if it's relocated. However, I think that's mainly for hatches and stuff because you're in like the same cabin as the battery because of fumes and stuff. But I think it doesn't matter because there's firewall. But either way, you can always just get like a, what is it, an Optima? Those, I think they're like dry cell batteries or something that don't make harmful fumes. I don't know anything about batteries. Most people will go and put a really pretty like overflow reservoir just because it's nice and pretty and new. But I really like the stock one, even though it's all cruddy. It tucks up real nice in here and takes up like no space and keeps everything nice and clear and free. So we're gonna do our best to make this thing clean. I think most of the grossness actually comes from the inside, so we're gonna start off just by putting some degreaser in it and shaking it around. I'd say about 15 minutes later, bam! Not perfect, but the main important parts are pretty clean. So I went through a couple different like trial and error things to figure out what worked best. What I wound up doing was a mixture of degreaser, hand cleaner, Goo Gone, water, with a bunch of bolts in it, and then a rag. So what I did is I put all the bolts in and then twisted up the rag and essentially shook it so the bolts were putting weight on the rag and cleaning the inside of it. Because I couldn't get any sort of like brush or anything in there, and we got it looking pretty decent. Not the most ideal first thing to put in the engine bay because it really like doesn't look nice with the white. I wish we could paint it, but then you can't see the water level, so it kind of defeats the purpose. But for a temporary, just tucked a little water reservoir. It works. I'm not picking good things to do today. It's been a while since we've been on the road so much, but I don't know if this little bag is gonna ring any bells for you guys. But me and Nicole are preparing a wonderfully assorted Blue Apron meal right now. Blue Apron is a company that delivers farm fresh ingredients and step-by-step instructions to your door. I have to kneel or I'm not in the camera to go.
Well, then put the camera up.
All the ingredients get delivered in this box and they're all with like dry ice. When you're a chef, it's all about consistency. So like when we're slicing food, it's all like building an engine. Every slice needs to be the same.
I was comparing that to like doing makeup, and like if you do one eye, like you need the other eye to like come out the same.
Will I be good at doing makeup?
No.
Blue Apron has a 2-person plan and a 4-person family plan. We actually chose to do their family plan because then when we make like the recipe and stuff, we have leftovers versus spending the time cooking and only getting to enjoy it once. And here we have the finished product of tonight's burgers and fries, or its more sophisticated name. Blue Apron is a very fun way to switch up what you cook, and if you want to check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free, all you gotta do is go to blueapron.com/LZ. I wanna give a massive thank you to Blue Apron for sponsoring this video. It is greatly appreciated, and once again, you guys can go to blueapron.com/LZ to get your first 3 meals free. And then you yourself can see how Blue Apron is
A better way to cook.
You remembered.
Did.
I'm impressed. I didn't have to remind her. We're gonna go watch 8 Mile. We started watching the other night and Nicole fell asleep twice, so.
It was late.
You guys like are Eminem fans or were Eminem fans, but I used to love him like back in the day. Not too crazy about current Eminem, but I started listening to a lot of his old stuff and it got me kind of like thinking about how like the last time I watched 8 Mile was probably 10 years ago and I probably didn't understand half of it, so it's a cool movie. Even though it's almost midnight, I'm kind of not happy with where I left off with the R32 and I want to feel like I got more done before I go to bed. So I'm going to try to do a couple more things and get the car to feel like it's starting to come together a little bit more. Even though we're going to go ham tomorrow and try to get like 90% of the stuff done. I think Alberto's going to come over early. I just want to like, I don't know, sometimes for me, I just like when I go to bed to know that I got stuff done, if that makes sense. I don't feel like I've gotten stuff done. I want to get the fuse box and body harness back into the chassis, but in order to get it through this hole here, I have to pull the fender off from these 2 points and the points up top. Yeah. As per always, it's taking a lot longer than it needs to. That's just because I'm taking my time and going over cleaning the harness wherever I can, rewrapping electrical tape where it's deteriorated or hard and flaky. Overall, you can see I've got the fuse box mounted. I have the harness run underneath here. Obviously, it's a bit messy here right now until the headlights get plugged in. I haven't like rewrapped some of this stuff. Still kind of, it doesn't look like there's that much done, but you guys that have been through this before know that it's a long, tedious process. But it feels good kind of getting a kickstart and knowing that tomorrow, rather than starting from scratch, there's at least a couple stupid, dumb things already done. Also, cool little neat fact, if you guys remember how we have this hole that we wanted to cover up, but weren't able to cover up before paint, I got an idea. What do you guys think if, since the intercooler piping is going to be going through here, what if we have the blow-off valve located right on the intercooler piping here, so the blow-off valve is just kind of like peeking through this hole? Would that be cool? Or lame or inconvenient? I don't know, I haven't talked to Alberto about it yet, but that was something that me and Randy were just like, huh, that'd be kind of cool, and it'd make it look like the hole's on purpose and not just there because we didn't have time to cover it up. Crazy how much stuff goes into this car. Tomorrow, me and Alberto are gonna go ham. I wanna stay up late and keep working, but I'm getting a wicked bad headache and I think it's time to call it a night. Hopefully tomorrow this bay will start to look more like, I don't know, a bay with stuff in it. Got a lot of little like things to paint. I'm not just gonna put everything back in gross and get it looking real nice, real fresh. That way we got a fresh start. I know a lot of you guys also commented a cool thing about white, lighter colors always for engine bays. My brown isn't a light color, but I didn't really know. Light colors are amazing because it makes it very easy to spot leaks, which is very, very important. Also makes it nicer when you're working. I really want to powder coat the braces and like the sway bar and the subframe the same color that the valve cover is, that candy red. I think it'd be so cool to have just like random candy red bits all over the car. Hope you guys are looking forward to tomorrow's video because I sure am. It is going to be a lot of work, but a lot of fun, very rewarding. I'm way too hyped to get this car on the road and ripping again. So hopefully that'll be soon, and I will see you guys tomorrow.